Hey guys, so today I am here to talk to you about a romance novel with a little bit of confusion, I guess you could say. I don't really know. I had a really weird experience with this one and I can't wait to try to explain to you what I'm even talking about, but we'll get to that in a second. First of all, the book. So the book in question is I Hate You More, a contemporary romance by Lucy Gilmore. Our main characters are Ruby Taylor and Spencer Wilson. Ruby used to be a pageant queen. She won every pageant she entered. She was incredible at it, but she did not enjoy it. And so at a certain point she quit, and for the last 10 years she's been working as an assistant in a nursing home where she has come to be great friends with many of the women and particularly the women, but also some of the men who live there. And first of all, the group of women that she is a part of at the nursing home are the best. They are absolute stitches and they're wonderful. Spencer Wilson is a veterinarian who runs his own dog show, the West Coast Canine Classic, and he is also a twin. He has a twin brother named Caleb, and hijinks ensue, but less than you think with the twin thing, honestly. The premise of this is that one of the women at the nursing home tells Ruby that her dying wish, she is not dying, she's just trying to get Ruby to do this, is to enter her dog Wheezy into the West Coast Canine Classic. Wheezy is a portly golden retriever. The older woman at the nursing home claims that he is a purebred. It's very unlikely that he is, and he is the world's worst show dog. He is overweight, he's not groomed well, and he wants absolutely nothing to do with any command that Ruby gives him. So when Ruby goes to sign Wheezy up for the West Coast Canine Classic, she meets someone who says that he's Spencer and says that even though she's late, he'll still let her enter. Come to find out, this is in fact Caleb playing a joke on Ruby, but he boxes Spencer into having to let Ruby into the competition, even though he normally would not, with Wheezy being Wheezy. So I thought from that setup that there would be more twin hijinks in this. There's not, which I kind of enjoyed. I really was not super keen on the idea that Ruby would be doing a twin back and forth thing. I just wasn't what I was feeling, but you know, Caleb is the very laid back, very fun, very people pleasing, and Spencer is very uptight, very, you know, stiff upper lip kind of a guy with you know, a heart underneath all of that iron. Spencer basically tells Ruby from the start that there is no way in heck that Wheezy is going to be able to do anything in the West Coast Canine Classic. And of course that sets Ruby off because she used to be a pageant queen, and when she sets her mind to something, she really sets her mind to it. So she hires Caleb to help teach Wheezy. Turns out that's a little awkward because Caleb is currently living with Spencer. Caleb is a certified dog trainer. And so yeah, she and Spencer keep being thrown in proximity to each other even though they really do not want to be there. There are some really interesting subplots to this book. There are things going on in the background of Caleb's life and his relationship with Spencer that I really liked. So there is definitely a family element there. A little bit comes up with Spencer and Caleb and their parents. There's a thing going on with Ruby and her mother. Her mom, you know, has gone through several husbands and was the person who really forced Ruby into doing pageants, although they kind of, you know, reconcile that relationship a little bit. And then there are also some of Spencer and Caleb's friends who are trying to at once set one of the twins up with Ruby. At certain points they're not sure exactly who, but they're also trying to mend a rift they think they see between the brothers, and their friends are also really funny. So for kind of a short romance book, it's under 300 pages. There's a lot going on here, and normally I'd be really hype about that. And I mean, I am, and normally that would be something where I'd be like, this puts a romance book over the top for me, as these other things that are going on and the romance just being a larger part of these relationships. however, there is something super weird in the pacing of this book. And it's something that I've been mulling over ever since I finished reading it and how I was going to tell you guys about it. Because I was trying to explain it to Michaela and I don't even know it. Romance novels are predictable, right? So there's, in this case, it's enemies to lovers. So there's the initial interaction where Ruby and Spencer decide they don't like each other. And then for some reason, they continue to be in each other's presence until they either realize that they want to have some hate sex that turns into real sex, or they come to realize that they've not really gotten the correct image of the other person and that they are someone worth being in a relationship with. And then something happens and then there's, you know. This book seems really dedicated to hitting those marks, even when at times it feels like they're not earned. And so I think that that was the thing. The beginning for me felt really slow. I wasn't sure where it was going. I was a little bit worried that we'd have some like twin back and forth going on. I think like started it 2 or 3 times before I finally got going and read it in one sitting. So the beginning was slow, and then so I'm reading and I'm like, okay, so they're getting to know each other, and then boom, their clothes come off. And I'm like, I literally sent the screen like to Michaela and I was like, I don't understand what happened here. Like all of a sudden this is just happening. And it's like literally they're talking and like Ruby just whips her shirt off. And I'm like, did I miss something? Because it just didn't feel like that to me. And so yeah, it was just very, and then this, and then it goes, and then whoop, new thing happens, and then it goes, and then whoop, new thing happens, as opposed to like a plot that builds on itself towards the climax. So it might have just been me. I guess I've not seen enough other people's reviews of this to be able to guess. I don't like to look at other people's reviews before I do mine, because I don't want my impression to be colored by someone else's. I want to give you an honest view of how I feel. But it just felt really odd. And then, you know, obviously they have to have some kind of fight, disagreement, something. I'm not going to spoil it, but it just feels really odd what Spencer chooses to do, and then how Ruby chooses to. There were a lot of things. There was some miscommunication I didn't understand. And it's just really unfortunate, because I feel like this book has a lot of things clicking in it that I really respect in romance novels, and it has really great potential, but I feel like it's one of those books where I wouldn't tell you not to read it. It was cute and it was funny, but I wouldn't necessarily maybe be my first recommendation to give you. However, it makes me really excited for another book that Lucy Gilmore might produce, because I feel like all of the components are there and there's just some stuff that needs to be refined. So I do think that Lucy Gilmore is a romance novel writer with a lot of potential, with a lot of things, a lot of elements that I love in there right off the bat. But this one is just not 100% executed in the way that I wanted it to be. So if you like stories with dogs in them, I think the last one I reviewed to this extent was A Spot of Trouble by Terry Wilson. And I do think that I would maybe recommend this one over that one. Yeah, I think I would recommend this one and not that one. Spot of Trouble was also just meh. So if you have good recommendations for romances that involve animals in fun ways, and potentially cats, because my cat is making her presence known right now. Thanks, Mavis. Let me know down in the comments what you would recommend. If you've read this one, let me know if you had the same issues or if you didn't, and I will see you guys next time.